How do you deal with feelings of guilt when you did something that was right for you but might hurt another person? Wow, that's a hard question. Read that again. How do you deal with the guilt when you did something that was right for you but might have hurt another person? Well, how? How do you deal? I'm not being asked whether I think she's right and the other person is wrong. You know what I'm saying? The question is not how do you know if I'm right. The question is I am right, but I feel bad that I'm hurting another person. Wow. I'm afraid to answer this question because I do not know the context. I don't know what the right is for one and the wrong is for the other. So I could walk straight into a trap. I could say exactly what you want me to say, which would be the wrong thing. Because it depends what the issue is. It depends what the issue is. But I guess I'll speak in generalities, which is all I could do with this little bit of information that I have here. I've been a teacher for 35 years. I've had so many students, I don't even remember all their names, by any means. At this point, I don't even remember their faces, because I'm getting old and slow. I used to remember names. I used to remember everything. Then I stopped remembering names, I remembered faces. Now I don't even remember faces. I've had many, many students. And I've hurt my share number. Not all my students love me. Some of them really don't like me or hate me. And a lot of them could take me or leave me. They're ambivalent. They don't have no feelings for me. Should I not have become a machanach? Should I have not gone into chinuch? No, I think I did the right thing. If I would do my life over, when you're 25 years old and you're starting out your life, you don't have the experience that you have when you're 60. So if I would do my life over, I'd probably do it the same way, not because I thought it was right, but because I would start in the same place. This is the nature of the world. If you are going to be involved with people, you run the risk of hurting people. Now your whole job, and this is true, your whole job is to love. Your whole job is to lift up. Your whole job is to help your students in every way, shape, or form. But this sounds like a very funny thing to say. You know how long it took me to learn that lesson? Decades. When I started out as a teacher, my goal was to teach. If I have an expertise, it's Chassidus. I wanted to teach Chassidus. If you wanted to learn from me, that was great. If you didn't want to learn from me, we had a problem. It's taken me many, many years to realize that teaching and learning is secondary to people. I'm a person, you're people, we're interfacing, our paths are crossing, and my role in one way or another is to contribute something to your growing up, and the most important thing is you, not how much you listen to me, how much you learn from me. So what I'm really saying in plain English is, anybody who's involved with people runs the risk of hurting them. And I'll give you the most simple example. You are going to marry a man, Emir Hashem, hopefully soon enough. Hopefully it's going to happen quickly and peacefully and beautifully and forever and healthy and fruitful and rich and Yiddish and Chassidish, all the brachas in the world. You know who you're going to hurt the most in your entire life? The most? Your husband. You know who he's going to hurt the most in your entire life? You. You know why? Because you're going to be closer to him and he's going to be closer to you than anybody else in the world. You know you're going to hurt the second most, but in some ways they're much, much deeper? Your children. You know why? Because not only are your children going to be very close to you, your children are going to be extremely dependent on you. Your children are going to be born babies. And everything they are, you're going to give them. And everything that they think, you're going to put in their head, every value. You know, I don't know if you've reached that stage, but at some point in your life, you're going to wake up one day and realize, my parents are just regular schlubs. When you're a little kid, you worship your parents. Your parents are the smartest people in the world. Everything they say is true because they're your parents. And one day you realize that's not true. They did their best. They brought me into the world. I owe them a debt of gratitude. But not everything they say is true, and everything they do is right, and everything they say is kind. And you grow away from them. Now, one of the weird things about growing up, and again, if you haven't had this experience yet, you will have that experience. You go through a period of being angry at your parents. You almost feel like they lied to you. You almost feel like they cheated you. But they didn't. They just did the best they could. But you trusted them more than they deserved to be trusted. So you're angry about the fact that when you were 7, whatever your parents said was true, even if it was stupid. and wrong and even cruel because your parents said it. And it's one of those things that happens to each person as they grow up. You grow away from your parents, you become your own person, you don't always believe in them. I think most kids go through at least a short period of time where they sort of have this anger towards their parents because they feel like their parents ruined them or cheated them or lied to them. And then you realize, you know what? I'm doing the same thing to my children. It's the way it goes. I'm not going to hate my parents. I'm going to love my parents. I'm going to respect my parents. But I'm not necessarily going to listen to my parents. I'm not necessarily going to do what they say. I'm not necessarily going to agree with my parents because they don't deserve that. They're not that rebbe. They're just people. So the way life works is the people closest to yourself you're most likely to hurt. But you know what else? The people closest to yourself you're most likely to love. You're most likely to cherish. You're most likely to lift up and to be a good influence in their lives. I think it's a combination. And figuring that out is awesome. It's a huge piece of growing up. So now, one of you asks me this question. I did something, it was right for me and it was hurtful for somebody else. And I feel bad about it. Now, again, I don't know what the thing is, so I don't know if you're right or wrong. If you're wrong, you shouldn't have done it. If you're right, then you should have done it. The way the world goes is people become close to each other. And the consequence of getting close to another person is that you run the risk of hurting them. But that's not a reason not to get close to them. You know that I have a student, he's probably 40 years old. He recently visited me. When he was a bach, he was a very chassidish bacher. I don't know what his deal is, but he's an atheist. I know him deeply. He was in my school for 3 years. I know him well. He's a very emotional person. He's a very loving person. He's 40 years old. He does not let him get close to girls. He meets girls, he dates girls, but he doesn't want to get close. He has very superficial relationship. You know why? He doesn't want to hurt them. He doesn't want to get hurt. And I met him. He came to my home this winter, and I said, "There's so much love in you. How could you not let yourself get close to another person?" He says, "I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to hurt anybody." That's the worst aveda you could commit. The worst sin you could commit is, I'm going to stay away from life. I'm going to protect myself so nobody hurts me and I don't hurt anybody else. That's wrong. You're supposed to get married. You're supposed to be very close to your husband. You're supposed to love your husband. Your husband's supposed to love you. And you run the risks of hurting each other. You bring children into this world who are so tiny and so dependent upon you. Are you going to hurt your kids? Absolutely. But are you going to love the kids? 100 absolutelys. This is how Hashem made us. We're supposed to be close to other people. And it would be a crime not to let yourself get close to other people because you don't want to hurt other people. So my answer to your question is like this. You feel bad that you did something that was right for you that may have hurt somebody else. First of all, look into the mirror and really ask yourself if it was right. Second of all, if it was right, and it may very well be, maybe you should apologize. Maybe you should do what you can to fix as much as you could that situation with the other person. But this is how life is lived. This is what happens in life. When you get close to another person, the chances are, there's a possibility, it doesn't have to happen, that you're going to hurt that other person. I'm 3 times your age. It's worth it. It's what God made human beings to be. Human beings are made to be close to other human beings, not to be, with walls around ourselves because we don't want to get hurt and we don't want to hurt anybody else. Now, I hope that answers that question. I don't know who asked it, but again, this question should get an hour. These are brilliant questions. I mean, they're questions that should be asked by people twice your age. I mean, the previous question and this question. They're very meaningful questions. They show that you girls are wise, not just smart, but wise, which is very, very impressive. But I'm going to move to the next one, and I'm going to apologize for not giving you your hour. I'm sorry.